Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine waking up tomorrow and just committing, speaking only English for 24 hours, no switching back to your native language, no quick translations, no little shortcuts, just, pure English from sunrise to sunset. For a lot of people, that thought alone might spark a mix of dread, but also maybe a little bit of a curious what if.
Huh.
Today, we're doing a deep dive, pulling from some really interesting sources you send over. We're looking at the psychology, the strategies, and the potentially life-changing impact of going English only for 24 hours. We've sort of extracted how just one day of courage really could maybe unlock years of confidence for you.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because this challenge, it's not just a language exercise. Not really. It seems to be about tapping into, your own creativity and building some real self-confidence by forcing yourself into a whole new way of thinking. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it does raise a pretty important question, I think. How much potential are we unknowingly leaving on the table just by, not pushing past limits we think we have?
Yeah.
Especially with communication.
That's a great question. And we've got some incredible stories from the source material that really bring it to life. One that definitely stood out was Maria's. She's a student from Colombia. She'd been studying English for 5 years, but felt completely stuck in what lots of learners call intermediate purgatory.
Oh, yeah. Intermediate purgatory. That's such a perfect description for that stage. It's incredibly common and so frustrating. You understand so much, right? You can read, you can listen.
Right.
But actually speaking fluently, spontaneously, it just feels totally out of reach, like you're stuck on a plateau.
Exactly. It's like running on a treadmill, like you said earlier. You're moving, but not getting anywhere new.
Yeah.
So Maria was feeling pretty down about it when her American colleague jokingly bet her $100, said she couldn't speak only English for one whole day. And instead of just laughing it off Maria, she leaned in. She said, make it $200 and you're on. She was terrified, apparently, but that bet, it just sparked something.
Oh, okay. So the stakes got real.
They did. And what happened during those 24 hours brings us to, I think, our first really powerful insight. Desperation, maybe surprisingly, can actually breed innovation. When you genuinely can't fall back on your native language, your brain it gets incredibly creative. So for Maria, around hour 6, she hits her first major crisis. The shower breaks.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and she needs to explain this to her landlord, but she blanks on the word plumber. Doesn't know it.
Right. A common situation. What did she do?
Well, instead of giving up or defaulting to Spanish, she found a way. She said, I need the water fixing man to come to my house.
The water fixing man. Perfect.
Exactly. And the landlord understood immediately.
And that's the thing, isn't it? That's the classic example of what happens when you remove the safety net, the crutch. And that's when Maria had this big realization. Perfect English isn't really about knowing every single word. It's about finding creative ways to communicate your ideas, just getting the message across, even if it's not, textbook perfect. That must have been a huge shift for her.
It totally was. It changed her whole approach. And that story, it connects really well with another person we read about who took on this exact challenge. They decided to write 24 hours, only English. But they took it even further. Even their internal thoughts had to be in English.
Whoa, okay. Internal thoughts, too.
Yeah.
That's intense. That's another level of commitment. What does that actually do? Cognitively speaking, does it sort of silence that inner translator we all have?
It seems like it, because around hour 10, they described having this linguistic breakthrough moment. They were just making breakfast, thinking about the day ahead, and suddenly realized they weren't translating anymore. The thoughts were just happening directly in English.
Yes.
It wasn't just about vocabulary. It felt like a really deep mental shift.
That's the core of it, I think. When you tell your brain absolutely no escape route, no plan B, it seems to almost rewire itself. It just starts working more efficiently in English.
Yeah.
Linguists talk about this idea of code switching suppression. It's like your brain, instead of constantly trying to run 2 different language programs at once, finally says, okay, fine, and dedicates all its resources to the English program. And that's a huge cognitive efficiency boost. It's probably why these kinds of immersive challenges can be so effective, so powerful.
But, let's be real. It's not all breakthroughs and smooth sailing during these 24 hours.
Definitely not.
There are absolutely going to be tough moments, those crisis hours. The same person, around hour 14, they hit one. They had to call customer service about a billing problem.
Okay, yeah. That's tough in any language.
Right. Imagine technical words. You're probably frustrated. You have to explain something complicated. It's basically everything that makes English learners want to just, hang up. But this is where we see something else really interesting. Pressure can reveal hidden capabilities. Instead of panicking, they actually surprised themselves. They spoke slowly, they asked for clarification when they needed it, and they even managed to make the customer service rep laugh by saying something like, "I'm sorry, English is my adventure language, not my comfort language."
Adventure language. That's brilliant. I love that framing.
Isn't it great?
It really is. It immediately just sort of disarms people, right?
Yeah.
And it invites a bit of understanding, maybe some patience, instead of judgment. And that moment, that interaction itself, that builds confidence. It goes way beyond just the language skills. It's about resilience. It's about authentic communication, even when it's hard.
It absolutely does. And Maria, back to her story, she had a similar kind of experience around hour 18. She was totally exhausted, sitting in a coffee shop, really tempted to just give up on the whole bet.
Understandable after 18 hours.
Totally. But then a stranger came up and complimented her accent, asked where she was from. And here's the amazing part. Maria ended up having this fantastic 45-minute conversation with this person, just talking about travel and dreams, life goals, all in English.
Wow.
And by the end, they actually exchanged numbers, planned to meet up later for language exchange.
See, that's incredible.
It really shows us that vulnerability, putting yourself out there, it creates connection.
It's such a powerful reminder. These language challenges, they can turn into these amazing opportunities for relationships. When you're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, like Maria was, I think people sense that. They see the courage, and often they really want to support you. It's not just about what you say, but the bravery you show in how you're saying it, even imperfectly.
That connection Maria made, just by being vulnerable, it really drives home how pushing boundaries opens doors. But, okay, let's get practical. How do you actually do this? It sounds pretty daunting.
Yeah, the how is often the biggest hurdle, isn't it?
So let's talk about some concrete strategies. How do you prepare for something like this? How do you get through the 24 hours?
Right. Well, one of the first things, and this seems crucial based on the sources, is having what we might call a survival phrase toolkit.
A survival toolkit, okay.
Yeah, these aren't just, polite phrases. They're essential tools for navigating conversations when you hit that inevitable vocabulary wall. Things like, could you repeat that, please? Or, I'm not sure I understand that word. Or even just, let me think about how to say this.
Right, buying yourself some time. Other ones could be, I'm looking for a word that means maybe, or even, could you help me express this idea?
Exactly. Yeah. Having those ready lets you keep the conversation moving. It stops you from just freezing up or, worse, switching back to your native language out of panic.
Makes sense. What else? Just having phrases isn't enough, surely.
No, definitely not. You also need to plan your day a bit carefully. This isn't about setting yourself up to fail miserably. Maybe don't schedule like a super complex business negotiation or a really emotionally charged discussion on your challenge day.
Good point. Dial it back a bit.
Yeah, start with more manageable things, maybe activities where you can listen more at first, then gradually try more challenging interactions as you feel a bit more confident. Low pressure situations first.
Okay, that sounds smart. And one really crucial tip that came up in the sources was about documenting the experience, like keeping a voice memo journal throughout the day, in English, obviously.
That's interesting.
Yeah, just narrate what you're doing, talk about your thoughts, your struggles, your little victories. Apparently, you can really hear the difference in your own confidence and fluency from morning to night.
That makes a lot of sense. It gives you tangible proof of your progress, which can be incredibly motivating.
Exactly. It's not just a feeling, you can actually hear it.
And it's so important to keep reminding yourself, and we should remind listeners too, the challenge isn't about achieving perfection in 24 hours. That's impossible. It's really about being persistent, being creative, like Maria with the water fixing man, and just being open to growth, even when you make mistakes. Every stumble is genuinely a step forward if you're committed.
So let's kind of pull this all together. What's the big takeaway here? Our deep dive into this 24-hour English challenge, it really seems to highlight that the goal isn't perfection at all. It's about progress. Every single hour you spend committed to only using English, well, that's an hour you're investing in your future, more confident self.
Well said.
So maybe here's a thought for everyone listening. You don't have to jump straight into 24 hours. Maybe take a mini challenge first. Could you pick just, say, 3 hours this coming weekend and commit to speaking only English during that time?
That sounds much more manageable as a first step.
Right, and you just do normal stuff. Go grocery shopping, cook dinner, tidy up. But narrate everything you're doing out loud in English. Talk to yourself. Think out loud. And if you happen to interact with other people, stick with English. And to help with that, there's actually a 24-hour English Challenge survival guide mentioned in the resources. It has emergency phrases, conversation starters, motivation tips, that kind of thing. A good support tool.
That's really helpful. And, this whole conversation makes me wonder if committing to even just 3 hours of English only can potentially unlock new creative pathways, maybe new neural connections.
Yeah.
It raises a bigger question, doesn't it? What other areas of your life could transform if you applied that same principle, that idea of no escape route? What else are you capable of when you really fully commit?
That's a powerful thought to leave people with, because you probably do have more courage, more capability than you realize right now. Your English journey, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be brave. Every challenge you take on, every time you step outside that comfort zone, even for just a few hours, you're building that confident English speaker you want to become.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, maybe all it takes is just one bold decision, one slightly challenging day to discover what you're truly capable of achieving.